Hello guys, what's going on? This is Negacious, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. In the last episode, we had another heart flutter, I can only presume. Well, not a heart flutter, but our heart started acting up after some erotic shenanigans with Lily. Before that, we also had a tea party, I suppose, at Lily's room, which then led to things. And we literally left the episode off wondering, why does Lily feel more distant than ever before during situations when she even feels pity towards us for having arrhythmia. So things are definitely picking up. And apparently we're in the library and we just heard a thump because some books fell down. So let's get going. God damn it. That's the sound. The loud clatter of books falling into the return slot abruptly breaks the grip of silence over the school library. It's become a habit for me to come at the library at least once a week. Not only does the reading itself keep me busy, but discussing books with Hanako and Lily also does. Obviously startled, Yuko suddenly twists towards the attention of the noise. The direction of the noise, I should say. I'd have thought her used to people dropping books by now, since she does work here.
Hello, Hisao. Back again.
It takes me a moment to respond, my mind still distracted by the familiar melody of Lily's humming that's hardly left my ears in the several days it's been since I fell asleep to it. Yeah, just returning some books I borrowed. She casts her eyes downwards, presumably to the bin the books dropped into.
You're a very heavy reader, aren't you?
It's become a bit of a routine for now. Passes the time at least.
I wish I had free time to pass.
From small talk to depression in less than 5 seconds. I think that's a new record for her. She seems a bit down in general today, even compared to normal. Considering she has to work 2 jobs just to support herself, I could see how that would take a toll on her lifestyle. I mean, props to Yuko for working 2 goddamn jobs. Jesus Christ. Come to think of it, the pay for her job here can't be all that bad. The idea of staff in such a prestigious private school going hungry strikes me as counterintuitive. Working 2 jobs must take a lot of time. I'd probably never manage it.
You're lucky being a student. Do you think you'll be able to go to university?
If she's asking, then I guess that's the expected result of having this kind of education. Private schools like this don't exactly come cheap. I guess I have the money, I think. I've got plans which will require going to one, and my grades are good enough. It's more of a matter of how I'll pay to do so.
University costs so much that I'm having to work 2 jobs to afford to enter it. Paying for daily expenses too makes it a lot harder. If you're reading this much though, that means you're doing well in school, right?
Interesting logical jump. Not an altogether wrong one though. I suppose so. I didn't find any of the exams very hard, aside from maybe 1 or 2. Do you mind if I ask what studies you're pursuing in the university? Wasn't it history, I think? Like ancient history? Yuko appears to genuinely brighten at the question.
Anthropology! To be specific, I'm specializing in the history of classical-era Athenian civilization and democracy.
Yeah. She really seems to know her stuff. Such enthusiasm is to be admired, and it's nice to see her genuinely excited about something. I guess even somebody like Yuko can be happy if she has a visible road ahead of her. Jesus fucking Christ, that fucking phone scared me. Oh my god. Oh, holy hell. Both of us jump at the sudden interruption coming from my pocket. What the fuck? Apologizing profusely and quickly shuffling into the hallway as I fumble with the cover of my mobile phone, I glance at the screen. Weird, it's a mobile number I don't recognize. Considering I can count the number of people with my number on one hand, I briefly wonder whether it's some telemarketer that lucked out. Hello, Hisao Nakai speaking. Question mark. Who could this be? I don't know. Jeez, pick up faster next time. Anyway, guess who? Is this Misha? Because Misha was saying like guess who all the time during Shizune's route. I'm gonna do that in Misha's voice.
Jeez, pick up faster next time. Anyway, guess who?
It only takes me a second to recognize the distinctively deep, brusque voice. Hey, Misha, didn't expect you to call me. What? Wait, so is this Misha or Akira? I guess it's Akira because they said it's a deep... okay, what the fuck? That was just a massive troll from the writers, Jesus Christ. Okay, it has to be Akira since Hisao mentioned a deep, brusque voice, so...
Huh? I actually think I sound like her.
Not at all, Akira. I don't remember giving you my number, though, so I thought I'd mess with you.
Oh, that. I got Lily to give it to me. Not hard.
She positively brims with pride at the statement. She's trying to get me caught up in her pace. I know it. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised that the two would share my number, though, given how close they are. So, what's up?
You free right now?
I guess. Why?
Could you meet me at the park in town? I just want to talk to you about some stuff.
Wait, Akira wants to talk to us. Is that an invitation to a date?
What? Of course not.
She sounds suddenly crestfallen, her previous teasing nature having instantaneously left. It seems strange for her. Anyway, I don't see why not. When do you want to meet?
Kinda now-ish.
Wait, right now? But it's... The dead silence suddenly coming from the phone announces the fact that she has unceremoniously hung up. What is going on? I'm seriously like I'm having that Rinner route feeling right now, like, what the fuck's going on? Because why would Akira want to talk to us, other than anything else except about Lily? And that shit makes me worried. Okay. For a long time I just stand there, staring at the call ended message on the screen while replaying the conversation in my head. What the hell, Akira? Throwing a glance up and down the street, I cross the road and step into the park. I've learned to pace myself on such walks, mostly because Lily's slower speed during our forays into town means that I have to consciously slow myself down. That aside, I hope Akira didn't expect me to be immediately prompt. Hello! Also with a... Wow. Now, this picture also makes me nervous. Already. Because you can see from her eyes that something serious is going on. If they were to just want to like chat normally, they would bring up her normal sprite. So something's definitely up. I mean, come on, it has to be. I just don't know what. But I guess we're about to find out. It takes only a couple of seconds to spot her, waiting on a bench with a can of beer in her hand. Also, is that... I think that's Sapporo, which is an actual beer like a brand, I think. Because I've had it myself. I've had Sapporo beer. The look she gives me as I walk up lacks any hint of acknowledgement or greeting. What's with that look? I didn't have to come, you know.
I knew you would. You're that kind of person after all.
I lower my brow at her remark as she disposes of the can, emptied by the time I arrived, and a metallic clatter rings out. Akira takes a seat on the old wooden bench, and I follow her lead. She takes another can of beer from beside her and opens it up before speaking, taking a large gulp. She seems to really like that stuff. I suppose I don't need to ask what this is about, or rather who it's about.
I heard from Lily that you asked about our family.
They share more than phone numbers, that's for sure. I'd probably be very worried right now if it weren't for the total lack of malice in her voice. Rather, her tone sounds almost wistful. Idle curiosity, mostly. I have to admit, I'd never have guessed you two were half Scottish. She gives a wry chuckle of amusement.
I've heard that before, trust me.
The small smile falls from her face, her eyes looking ahead distantly. Aside from the occasional elderly couple talking as they slowly walk the meandering paths, and the odd aging car, it's pleasantly quiet.
She didn't tell you everything though, did she?
I fucking called it. Like 2 episodes ago. It was pretty brief. Your parents live in Scotland and she hasn't met them since she was 12 and she wants to meet them again.
It's always surprised me how devoted she is to our parents, for all the good they did us.
The way she says it sounds almost derisive. She gives a small sigh, as if to quickly brush the feelings away.
Why do you think they left, Hisao?
Why do I think they left? From what Lily told me, it was because of work. I guess a pretty decently paying job was involved as well, given the way your parents seem to live. So, Lily went to a private school, and that's why she carries herself with the airs and graces of the upper class.
Yeah, since the business in Inverness boomed, our father decided to move directly to the same city as its headquarters. That's just the conclusion I thought you'd come to, though. You're too good-natured.
You don't think they left for their career?
I'm sitting here bitching to you about it. What do you think? Yamaku Academy. I always thought the place was kinda creepy. Like it was an isolated hideaway for those proper society doesn't want to see nor hear. They probably just rue the fact that Lily wasn't old enough to be shoved there by the time they left.
I see. A long silence follows her abrupt and very harsh criticism on her own parents and Yamaku. Lily's blindness is hardly something that could be simply ignored for a high-class family attempting to keep up appearances, much less so when a lucrative offer is on the table. So they left her behind because she was blind? And Akira was kinda... I'm not sure if it was for Akira's own volition or... I guess it must have been Akira's own volition to stay back and take care of Lily. Because she was like past 18 at that point, right? Yeah, so Yeah, so, I mean, Akira must have stayed behind to take care of Lily, who the parents who wanted to move to Inverness to take care of the family, or the business, the lawyer business. So Akira stayed behind to take care of Lily, who their parents left behind because of her blindness. Oh my fucking god, dude. What a fucking douchebag pair of parents. Oh my fucking god. Holy Jesus. I mean, unless I'm understanding something wrong, but that's what I'm inferring from this. Eventually, Akira gives a derisive snort, her feelings coming to a head. Moving to secure our financial future with his new job posting. Even at the time, I hardly believed it. Not wanting to simply be an avenue for her venting, I gently tried to steer the discussion. So, you stayed in Japan with Lily then? Either I stayed with her, or she went to live with an ailing grandmother and a grandfather. Okay. Props to you, Akira. You really do love your sister. What about Shizune's family? If you're cousins, then... Our fathers hate each other. I'd have been more than happy to tell them to go screw themselves and live with them anyway. But Lily wouldn't have wanted that. I'd also had an offer for a job by then, so we did our best to keep our parents' house in proper shape, and tried to continue our lives as if they'd never left. So, you just lived by yourselves? Basically, Lily had school and I had my job, so we weren't exactly languishing. With her schooling, her study, and having to do chores while I worked, though, I can't help feeling like I failed her. Like I failed her. In the end, I tried to be there for her and screwed it up. Jesus Christ, I'm getting fucking... Expecting a 19-year-old to be a mother of a blind child. That's ridiculous. So Lily and Akira lived alone after their parents moved, with Lily largely taking care of herself. I guess that explains her apparent independence compared to many in Yamaku. Yeah, and Akira was 19 by then, who was working in goddamn law. That's brutal. Like, holy shit, what the fuck? What the fucking douchebag pair of parents? I mean, I don't know the background of but at least arrange your fucking kids things properly before fucking going to goddamn Scotland. Like, what the fuck? I may have lived alone much of the time since my parents both worked, but that's just something else entirely. Sorry for making you listen to my moaning, Hisao. I don't mind at all, but do you mind if I ask why you're telling me all this? Huh? You always were curious. Context, I suppose. Life isn't a fairy tale, Hisao. Some people have to learn that the hard way. She takes a long drink from the can in front of her, in her hand, her face becoming more depressed than distant. I broke up with my boyfriend a few days ago. Just making me feel all these fucking feels. I broke up with my boyfriend a few days ago. After I leave, we're not going to be able to see each other again. But that's how life is. You can't just set your life up and expect it to stay that way forever. Sometimes stuff happens that you have to roll with, even if it means hurting yourself or others. Which fucking sucks. She takes a long breath before looking up at the bright orange sky. Damn, if I smoked, I could take a nice long drag right about now and look kinda cool. I want to respond, to help her in whatever way I can, but I feel utterly useless. This kind of situation is one I've never been in, and I simply don't have the experience to say anything meaningful to comfort her. Akira looks over and evidently picks up on this, much to my embarrassment. I must look pretty pathetic right now, whining about this to someone I barely know. Hardly, and I'm pretty much an expert on looking pathetic. She gives a chuckle, the act feeling like a personal victory for me. You're a good kid, Hisao. When I said I approved of you being with my sister, I wasn't joking or just being nice. She picks herself off the seat with a grunt, one that seems ill-fitting given her age, and throws the now empty can into the bin after one last swig. It's just unfortunate that doesn't really count for much in this world. When I said I was leaving for Scotland, I was doing it because of a good position opened up in our company's headquarters. When our folks told me that they were at their place, though, they also gave Lily a summons to rejoin them in Inverness. No way. Her evasiveness when asked about her future, that awkwardness that had steadily grown between us, that uncharacteristic outburst of anger. Oh my fucking god, dude. All of them, every single one of them, suddenly fit into place. The same family that she reminisced about after Hanako's birthday party. The same family that left her and Akira to themselves after taking flight to greener pastures. Now I feel stupid for never cornering Lily on what was bugging her. I'd never even considered if something had happened during her trip at her family's home at Inverness. And now, a sense of unease grows in my chest. If her family has summoned her to join them in Scotland, all the way on the other side of the earth. Also, what the fuck did I say? That the drama of this route wasn't over. I said it relates to goddamn Scotland back then. Has she accepted? Lily hasn't told me whether she plans to accept, and it seems she hasn't told you either. That's why I called you down here to talk, Hisao. Context, huh? I sit back, my feelings of worry and frustration no doubt written all over my face. Lily's a strong person, Hisao, but she's not infallible. I guess it's my job to worry about her, being her older sister, but I think that you deserve to know. I understand. You okay? You sound depressed. No, I'm just thinking. That's good. Thinking's good. Being rash won't get you anywhere. She looks at her watch, barely moving her wrist. I've got to go. Will you be okay? I'll be fine, don't worry. I'll have to talk to Lily about it and get everything sorted out. She gives a smile, but it doesn't feel all that genuine or sincere. Really, both of us are dancing around the fact that Lily's on the precipice of the biggest decision of her life and is trying to take the entire burden on herself. And part of that burden is the matter of our relationship. By the time I look up, Akira's already walking off with her hand held up. But for the first time in a long while, I finally have an answer to something. Perhaps not even that, but at least now I have the right question to ask. Will you leave or stay? Wow. Whoa, that fucking scene. So Lily is, I had to take a break because that was, wow. So Lily is leaving to Inverness because she was invited to rejoin her parents alongside Akira. That family that she hasn't been able to see in 6 years, and that very same family that ignored Lily and forced Akira to a very, very, very shitty situation. I don't want to leave the episode there, although that would be a good point, but I want to keep it going. Hurry, Lily!
I'm moving as fast as I can.
I can barely make out Lily's voice over the deafening pounding of the rain, even though I dislike pulling her around, the situation calls for it. I turn forward, my free hand over the head in a futile attempt to keep at least my hair dry. My vision seems to be in grayscale. This really is a rotten weather for summer, and the last kind of climate I'd want for a date. A pity. I'd even checked the weather forecast beforehand, one of the very few times I've ever done so, only for it to say that Sunday afternoon would be fine. Looking to Lily, her shoulders are by now completely drenched, with her right hand holding tightly to mine, and her left gripping her retracted cane. This horrid downpour came on just as we were between our destination and Yamaku, so we decided to try rushing the rest of the distance rather than doubling back. Entirely unused to running this fast, Lily's using all her concentration just to avoid tripping over.
Hisao, do you know where we are going?
Even she is reduced to shouting to try and be heard over the combined noise of the wind and the rain.
The shot!
The rest of my voice is completely drowned out by an even heavier burst of rain.
The what?
The Shanghai!
How far is it?
It shouldn't be far now! It doesn't take long before I call out to her once again.
It looks like we're safe! It's just up ahead!
I quickly pull up to a stop, just in front of the familiar exterior, the lantern outside still giving off its reliable glow, and wait for Lily to catch her breath before going in. Ladies first. The tiny bell inside rings out when I hold the door open for her, a smile and a polite nod being my reward before entering myself. As I step in behind and wipe my feet, only a quick glance is necessary to notice the distinct lack of activity. The Shanghai doesn't seem to get much in the way of patronage, and today is no different. Only a couple of tables are occupied. Summoned by the bells ringing, a most expected person comes to greet us.
Welcome to the Shanghai!
Yuko looks chipper today. Trying to predict her mood is pretty hard, but it's a nice change from her norm.
Hello, Yuko.
Hey.
Good afternoon, you two.
She takes a deep bow, somewhat taken aback as she rights herself again and gets a better look at us.
What happened to you? You both look...
Her eyes drift towards the glass of the door behind us.
Oh dear.
We're inside now at least. I think that's the most important thing.
It is nice and cozy. You're lucky to be working inside today.
It has been nice and quiet. I like days like this.
Oh, wait, sorry. Is there anything you'd like?
French vanilla tea, please. I'll have the same.
Right, coming right up.
She quickly skitters off with a determined look on her face, trying very hard not to forget our orders. If nothing else, she's at least dedicated to her jobs. Then I lead Lily to an empty seat before the two of us settle down. As usual, there's a large difference between my exhausted flopping down into my seat and Lily's delicate sliding into hers, her cane set beside her. For a while, I just idly watched the rain falling outside. the occasional person runs down the street trying to stay as dry as possible, hands often tightly gripping a rain-soaked umbrella. Lily sits just as quietly as I, her eyes closed as she intently listens to all that's happening. It's a comfortable, relaxing silence that exists between us, just the type that we'd so often shared together in the past months. For Lily, at least. I can't help replaying the words of her sister in my mind, at times contrasting them to both our time spent together since I entered Yamaku, and to the way we've been since we started dating. No matter how much I try, I can't work Lily out. It's as if the harder I try to second-guess her emotions and her potential decision, the more difficult it becomes to reach a clear conclusion. It makes me doubt whether I'd really ever understood her. In the end, I'm going to have to ask, even though I very much want to avoid doing so. You seem quiet today, Hisao. Really? You seemed so enthusiastic about taking me out on a date, I'd assumed you had something specific you wanted to do. No, not really. I just want to spend some time with you. Is that so? Fine. There was one thing. A little grin finds its way onto Lily's face, her knowing full well that she's bested me. It makes what I want to say all the more awkward. Okay, here we go. I have a feeling that Lily could take this anyway, but I have a feeling this is going to go into a rather negative direction. It was just Akira and I were talking. Oh? What's with that tone? You two do seem to get on well, don't you? Well, I do think she's a pretty cool person to talk with. It would be nice if any of the teachers were anything like her. Cool. That sounds so weird to say cool on Lily's voice. Jeez. For a moment I tried to place her tone of voice, my mouth curling into a smirk as I realize it. You're not jealous, are you? I am not jealous. After her teasing me or such a thing on our first date, I don't feel too bad having a little laugh at her expense this time around. As we settle down, though, it's only a minor distraction from the real point of why I've brought Lily here. Don't worry, it was mostly just everyday stuff. That said, there was something Akira mentioned that I wanted to talk to you about. When you went to see your family in Inverness a while back, she said, Akira told you about my family's summons, hasn't she? Seconds tick while I try to read Lily's face, an odd mixture of feelings written on it. She seems annoyed, but also somewhat confused. Here. Yuka tentatively slides her drinks onto the table, her presence oddly small. Moment of decision playing as well, holy hell. As she walks back to the counter after a quick, polite nod, I realize the air between me and Lily is thick, and our expressions are both somewhat pensive. Even though she says I should lead my own life, she still interferes at the worst times. I don't think you should blame Akira here. She's just looking out for you, and it's not like I can't understand her concern over this. Lily's irritation gives way to an awkward and largely unsuccessful attempt to mask her feelings. She really doesn't deal well with being cornered on personal topics. I know, but I just wanted some more time. I knew you'd have figured it out eventually, but you were intentionally hiding this from me. And for how long were you planning to do so? As I said, I simply wanted more time to think it through. I wanted to be sure of my decision before telling you. What did you decide to do in the end? I know what I wanted her to say, but an awful feeling refused to leave my gut. My family does dearly want me to return to them, and Akira will be going as well. I could still teach as a career, whether it be here or there. So, you're going. How long have you known? I already know you were asked when you first went to Scotland, about a month ago. Some time. My frustration very nearly boils over. The fact that she's done this affects me more than it should. For her to not only be leaving, but to have been actively hiding her own plans from me, and after seeing for so long to be the one solid pillar of support and reliability I could depend on. It feels as if the foundation underneath me is suddenly shifting drastically, much faster than I can adapt to. Perhaps this isn't so much frustration as sheer unease. Lily. I am sorry. I wanted to think this through completely. I wasn't trying to take advantage of you, please. I know, Lily, I know. This is just really sudden. I guess this means that once you go, we'll be breaking up. For one of the few times I've seen since I met her, she's genuinely lost for words. She doesn't look surprised, no doubt because the fact had dawned on her once she became sure of her decision, but rather she appears genuinely unsure of how to deal with the situation now that's in front of her. We could try pursuing a long-distance relationship. They are getting more and more common these days, after all. Even as she says it, the tone of her voice gives away that she truly doesn't believe what she's saying. Lily is far too old-fashioned to be able to cope with a relationship without any kind of physical presence, and even I am to an extent. All we would ever be able to each other would be a voice from the other side of the world. In the end, trying to rationalize everything is futile. Any attempts to try and connect what's happening with the future or past just seem to be getting more difficult the more I concentrate. Those quiet moments where we just walked side by side, the precious time we spent with Hanako and Akira, the casual chatter we had during lunchtimes, the times we made love, the confessions of our feelings to each other. All pointless. All just a fleeting moment in our young lives. We're just two children pretending to be adults, aren't we? A long, long silence hangs in the air between us. The noise of the other patrons drinking and talking only makes the situation feel more strange and disconnected. Lily's face remains low, her dejected expression clouding it. I am sorry, Hisao. A simple apology, and no more. She's left entirely without any further response or comment. With a long sigh, I gather what's left of my thoughts and ask the final question I have for her. When will you be going? I will be leaving with Akira, so it'll be a little less than a week. The beginning of summer holidays? Just a little afterwards, yes. Her tone is unusually slow and steady, her apologetic and depressed mood all the more written to her face, as she tries to hide it in her voice. In the end, I can't even keep my promise of going to Tanabata with her before she leaves. I look down, seeing my face reflected in by the now lukewarm cup of neglected tea sitting in front of me. I really thought I'd left this kind of expression behind. For a while, I just stare down into the still surface, trying to sort through my emotions to get at what course of action should I take, whether it be right now or in the future. But, just as before, the effort is wasted. I glance up to see Lily gently sipping her cool tea without complaint, her face drawn and shoulders slumped. She looks to be deep in thought too, a strangely cold atmosphere coming between us as we isolate our things to mull things over. Even as Lily's cup slowly empties, mine remains untouched. It's a long time before I notice the rain dying down outside and a few other patrons of the Shanghai having left. The chill of rapidly darkening evening permeates the dormitory hallways. While trudging down the corridor to my room, I see an unwelcome movement from up ahead. Sure enough, the opening of the door opposite mine heralds the arrival of a bespectacled Kenji.
Hey man, what's... Whoa dude, you look awful, I think. You okay?
He really has a knack for making any situation better. I don't really want to go into it. It's late.
Okay, that's cool. If you ever want to talk about it, I'm, here.
Wow. I look at him for a moment before surrendering my stern front and awkwardly scratching the back of my neck, embarrassed by my standoffish response to him. Thanks, Kenji.
Hey, it's cool. That's what friends are for, right?
What an irony that Kenji offers to listen to what we have to say, considering what the problem is here. Yeah, you're right. See you. I open the door to my own dorm room and close it behind me as he quickly waves me off. The solid thud the door makes against the doorframe sounds out a final call for the life I've led since coming to Yamaku. I just stand in my darkened room, fruitlessly attempting to work out what I should do from this point onwards. Just... what the hell should I do? Oh my god, so now all the stops are out. I very nearly my voice was kinda shattering there, but holy shit. I want to say that Lily kinda fucked us over by not telling us, but her situation is, after all, understandable, as is Akira's. I kinda understand, all the sweet moments up to this point, I knew it was leading into something quite destructive and, demolishing, but this? I feel as in this route, Hisao is, well, not victimized, but he's, put into the limelight a lot more, by the dilemma than Lily is. In the other routes, the girls have tried to kinda wave Hisao off, and then Hisao just pushed through to them. But in this route, it's the polar opposite. Lily is leaving in a few days, in 4 days, 3 days, what? And there's nothing we can do about it, not at this day and age. And if once she leaves Japan, our relationship is over. That's some hell of a bet, right there. Thank you for watching this episode of Katawa Shoujo. We are now truly reaching the end game of this brilliant game. And if you like this episode, make sure to show it by using the like or dislike buttons just below the video. You may also comment. I'll read every comment and respond to all of them. If you want to get my videos into your sub box the moment they come online, make sure to subscribe and click the bell button next to the subscribe button to make doubly sure that my videos will reach you. My name is Nagacious, and I'll see you in my next video.